Hello everyone out there, welcome back to the Phantoms Fanatic YouTube channel. Obviously, since this guy is here, I bet you can guess what we're reviewing today. Halloween Ends, released this year in 2022.
Correction, it was released yesterday.
Oh.
And,
Shut up. Starring Jamie Lee Curtis, James Jude Courtney, Andy Matchak, and
Jon Snow.
It wasn't Jon Snow. This movie was directed. It was directed by what's his face, David Gordon Green.
Yeah.
And it is the climax to the new trilogy of Halloween. Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Obviously, me and him reviewed Kills when it came out last year, and our opinion was
very divisive. We both had a very differing opinion. He weighed more on the negative of the movie. I weighed more on the positive of the movie.
I will say Kills is worse than this one, at least to my opinion. I know this guy next to me has a different opinion.
I found it way more entertaining. The poster looked badass. The score wasn't more impressive.
Okay, yes, we'll get into it. Obviously, this is the end to where this takes 5 years. This takes place 5 years after the events of Halloween Kills, and we finally get the climax to the series. So, I want to say that I liked this movie. Now, I know the guy to the right of me is gonna say some other things, but the fact that this has 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, what the fuck? Because, in my opinion, the first quarter of this film is the part of the film that I have a problem with. Now you can go.
And I don't like this movie. And the reason, well, the whole thing, it just like, if you thought Halloween Kills led to a very anticlimactic finale, this one is it's just meh. And then the first 25 minutes, or sorry, it felt like an hour for me because that was the longest beginning.
Yeah.
The whole beginning, I was like, where is so-and-so? Where is so-and-so? Can we get the movie started?
I liked the fact that it took its time in the beginning. I will say, even though I think that the beginning is the weakest part of this film, I like that it took its time establishing the characters and really building on Haddonfield as a community more in Halloween Kills. I like what it established in the beginning. Now, the beginning has some weird fucking shit in it, I will say, because...
Are we allowed to say one bit of dialogue?
Yes, you can say that one.
You gotta rip your shirt off and show your tits.
You have Jamie Lee Curtis,
how the fuck?
who is acting her ass off in this film. You gotta admit, her acting in this is good.
She was neutral. She was like 2018. See, the thing is, I was thinking more of, I was like, okay, don't think of the original. Think of Halloween 2018 and that Kills. Think more of 2018 because that was the peak of the trilogy. And the dialogue, the dialogue, I'm going to say the first swear word of this video was dog shit.
Okay. I admit that the dialogue in the first half, in my opinion, was pretty bad. Because you had some weird fucking decisions. Because there is a character in this film that is very important to whether you are going to find it interesting or not. He is a new character added to this series. And I personally like what they do with him. Now, some people may think something else, but I will say the beginning parts of his character, with him interacting with one of the main characters, I will say it did feel rushed and wasn't the best handled. I will say this movie gets a lot better when it gets into what it's trying to say, because at least Kills, I did not like the whole shit they were saying with the mob mentality thing. This movie, what they expand on in Haddonfield. Sorry, a car just passed us. In Haddonfield, and in the universe of these characters, especially by introducing a new person that has been experienced by Michael, I was actually really intrigued what they did with that character and what they do with the relationship between Jamie Lee Curtis and with Lori and her granddaughter. It really was intriguing to me what they did. And for the most part in this movie, I do feel like the characters are making smarter decisions than what they were in Kills. Now, in Halloween Kills, a lot of people were bitching and moaning about how
fucking stupid 80% of them was.
I didn't think they were the fucking dumbest of characters, because at the end of it, you gotta think, you're human. You know, I would prefer them to write it in a more believable way than what they did in Kills. And in this one, I feel like they do that. Because there was no big moments except one near the end that I was like, okay, that's just fucking stupid. But for the most part, all the characters are making smart decisions, and they make use of the leads. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this one and actually doing shit instead of being in a hospital for the fucking runtime. Okay, you go.
My turn. Okay. Now, Laurie's whole role in the movie, which really, the whole point was she's supposed to kill Michael. Mm-hmm. However, I do think my main issue with this movie, other than the fact that it feels like a drag, is the fact that when she said that line, I lost all respect for that character. I just couldn't. I don't know if you saw my face, but when I handled that 30 minutes of fucking cringe, first 10, I was like confused. I was like, what? Like, okay, a kid died?
You got to admit, though, that please hear me out on this, that the first 15 minutes is okay.
It's okay, but then it goes downhill.
Yeah, it goes downhill, but does it pick it back up for you, or does it just completely drop it, in your opinion?
Dropped. Because, I went into this expecting to see Michael, and I assume about 50 minutes in, he makes his first appearance, I think. I don't know. I didn't carry a stopwatch, which I should have. Because that movie was an hour and 50 minutes.
I didn't feel the only part where I felt it drag was in the beginning. In that first, 40 minutes, I feel like they could have cut a couple of things down. I do not want them to cut out the part that I found the most interesting, because, as I said, there's a character that is introduced in this film that will be a dividing point whether people like him or like the character or not. Because I like what they do with it. And you still do get Michael in this, but there's another force causing death in this, but you still get Michael. And I do think that really does work well. At least they're doing something different instead of just...
So can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
If you're commending this movie for doing something different, but you're scolding Halloween Kills for doing something different.
It did not.
Mob violence, the town, it expanded upon the town.
Okay.
The town attacked him. They weren't running from him.
Okay.
In that one.
Listen. Let me clarify what I meant by... I like that this movie does something different in a way that I enjoy. I like that that Michael and another force are the ones killing people in this, and that there's a connection between them. I feel like it mostly works out, and I do think the directing, acting, except for a few characters, the one character's mom...
Yeah.
She was way, and the dickhead,
aggressive.
Yeah, and the dickhead bullies in this, I thought their acting wasn't the best.
Also, said character gets bullied by them, and then he gets bullied some more, and then he goes psycho.
You just spoiled the fucking...
I didn't say the character. I said...
Yes, but if somebody watches this review before seeing the movie, they're gonna know once you see the movie who you're talking.
I can save myself. you can go to a theater to watch this, or you can stream this on Peacock live streaming service.
I am going to edit some of it, because I do want to talk about spoilers, because...
This is our only chance to, pretty much.
Yeah, we will talk about spoilers, but first I'm going to get out whether I recommend this film and what more parts I liked. I wish we got a bit more of the classic synth. We do get some of it, and it's really well done.
I can commend the movie, though. When the Halloween theme kicks in, it kicked a lot of ass. Yeah. However... the rest of the music was licensed. I could not tell John Carpenter to do any of
I
it.
know. Some of the other music I wasn't the biggest fan of.
But
I could have used...
the ending song in the credits. That one's good.
Yeah, that's the perfect
that's good, but they didn't make it.
I know.
They didn't make it. It was a
very good, well done. And this one does have a satisfying ending, unlike Kills. In my opinion, it does finally end, and it really does bring satisfaction to these characters, which I do like. They grow from the experience, and even at the beginning of this, they seem that they've grown from Halloween Kills. I will say, there is narration by Laurie, which makes sense, but I feel like you could have cut it, but it's all right.
Okay, there's this one part in the movie that I'm going to talk about, which absolutely confused me, and that was... said character says something to said character that I killed someone. They cut away, so there's like no response. And I was confused. I was like, was he faking it, or did they just teleport to that house?
I know, that
confused the hell out of me.
There's some scenes where a certain character is talking to people, and they disappear, and you don't know if they were actually there or not, but I feel like it works out for the most part.
But I will say...
the acting, for the most part, is top-notch, in my opinion. I really like these performances. I like the relationships that they bring in with these other characters from past ones, especially Laurie and the sheriff, and Allison with this new character, which I feel like they have chemistry. Okay, they have decent chemistry, and it makes sense to why they hitch so well. But I do feel like it is rushed, with especially this like fallout that they have near the beginning. I feel like it was rushed, and I don't know how I feel about, because it did
they need to extend some things. I think this movie, although I called it boring, I would rather the movie make sense. The extended cut, like Halloween Kills,
I did feel like some of the movie needed a bit more depth to it. I do feel like some in the first half drags, but when you get the slasher scenes, when you get the characters advancing and talking to each other, arguing about this situation, especially what's happening in their town, I actually think that's a lot more engaging. The first half is relatively engaging, but then this party scene happens with the fucking weirdest editing I've ever seen.
I'm gonna tell you, a lot of movies or horror movies have been diving into the epilepsy where they flash lights. This movie, it brings a whole different you aren't seeing anything. It's just white lights.
That's only in the one scene, I will say.
Yeah, and that scene, it disoriented me. I saw you. You're cowering behind that beanie you wear. It was just, that was pain. And but then it led to him getting It Chapter 2.
Yeah, I really do enjoy the directing and editing for the most part. It's just in those few scenes that I thought was fucking weird, and especially in the opening, where I thought it was a bit of strange editing choices that I wasn't the biggest fan of. But I will say, I relatively enjoyed this one. I feel like it is better than Kills. Not as good as Halloween 2018, but I do think that it is a satisfactory end to these characters. What they do with the characters, at least to me, was engaging and interesting. So, to whether
I'm gonna do my conclusion and then we do the record.
Okay, yeah.
I have one positive, though. The kills are probably the best in the franchise.
I was going to say, yeah, the special effect on the kills, yeah.
The kills, they make waiting half the movie for any kills good, but the problem was, it just became
it's paced all right. I feel like I never felt it drag except in the beginning.
But that gives me to the negative, though. By the end, it feels like they were like, wait, we're telling us this is a horror movie? Oh, shit. Okay, so We don't
It's
have that
more-
much of a budget. We have to go an hour and 50 minutes. We can't go further. The last hour, we're just going to kill people.
I know, that's what I love, is that the last hour gives you what you want, but still the interesting character dynamics. I know...
I think, but in my opinion,
do you
that's
think
a
that
negative.
the character dynamics work in this? Because in my opinion, I think they work.
No. However, the problem with the structure like that is if the ending falls short, then
It
the
doesn't.
wait for the kills do. And in my opinion, the final confrontation was lackluster.
No, I thought the final confrontation was fucking badass, but that was
It was just if they have an extended cut and they extend it, maybe I would like it.
But, as I
but
said,
the problem is Michael has 6 minutes of screen time. I counted in my head.
But
6 minutes.
But
and in that confrontation,
in my opinion,
he just dies.
In my opinion, you just spoiled. It's fine.
It's Halloween Ends. The movie got spoiled to me in a lie.
Okay. But as I was saying, I do feel like the build-up, at least for me, was satisfying to the payoff and what we got. Even though we don't get as much Michael, I feel like diving into the characters in the beginning and it pays off. Even though I say some of the things in the beginning I'm not that interested in. But they do... Yeah, I know. The beginning is the worst part of this film. Okay? It does drag... It does drag in some areas, but I feel like the interesting things that they bring up in the beginning here and there and what it resolves in, I actually think it really does work, even if I feel like they could cut a good 20-minute, more like a good 15 minutes from that beginning.
I'm going to say, though,
and make the film a bit more streamlined.
So, I said my thoughts in the conclusion, but there's one part of the movie I don't like. I like the new character. I hate the romantic subplot. 80% of the movie, I was like, is this just a romance? Like, this is a slasher.
I thought it was interesting, though, because I didn't know where the fuck his character was gonna go, and what they did with him I thought was interesting, but I do feel like the subplot kind of doesn't go anywhere. As you said, I feel like the chemistry between the two characters is alright, and it kind of makes sense, but there's also...
She becomes very fucking...
Yeah, she becomes very... dumb as it seems.
It seems her Halloween Kills called her very recently and said your brain capacity goes back down to zero.
I feel like that part, as I said, I felt like it was rushed in the beginning, and I feel like if they added a bit and cut some of the less engaging parts from the beginning, I feel like you could get a lot more streamlined, right? Yeah. If they have some scenes with them interacting more, because I did feel like I don't fully see why these characters are so interested with each other. But
I know, and then
the payoff I thought was satisfying.
I'll watch the extended cut, but for the time being, the theatrical cut for me is a 2 out of 10.
Oh,
I agree with...
Come on, man.
And I'm going to be honest. That 45 is generous. He's going to say something different, but I view that 45 as kind of generous.
But, okay, well, as I said, I personally recommend this one. They do try some new things that I think is relatively engaging, and the acting and the writing, for the most part, there's some, as I said, some of the beginning... I know, some of the beginning... things
what was the other one?
God awful. It's like custard. Bad boys get no custard for dinner.
I got it.
Yeah.
Boys who don't tell anything get no custard for dinner.
I know. That was, as I said, I feel like they could add a bit more to this and make the relationship between two characters a bit better. But I feel like for the most part, I enjoyed this. If you enjoyed Kills in 2018, I recommend this. And it is a good ending for the series, in my opinion. Now, do you recommend this?
Extended cut, maybe. This version, I'd rather drink a whole container of bleach.
Come on, man. You're making this film seem like it's not bearable to enjoy.
For me, hey, I'm going off of my experience.
I know, different opinions,
No,
but you also...
my
you also,
experience.
I know,
The movie felt way too long for me.
I didn't feel that.
Midway through, I'm like, what, he wants to just leave Haddonfield? And why did no one think of that in this timeline?
Yeah, and it's like... I get what you're saying by Michael not showing up, because I was like, when the fuck is Michael gonna show up? I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, and like, is this going to have a satisfying payoff? And in my opinion, it did, so it didn't bother me as much. Now, I know you don't think it had the best of payoffs, but I don't know. I liked it. The only problems I have with it is that the relationship between Allison and another character, I feel like, could have been
evolved.
Yeah, evolved and a lot more dived into. And I feel like some of the choice-worthy dialogue and crazy shit could have been cut. And some other more interesting things I would have enjoyed seeing. But for the most part, I relatively enjoyed this. So yeah. I give it a recommend. I give you a recommend.
Yes, he recommends it. However, here's the thing. I lost what I said. It's almost like it's almost, I don't know.
There's no stupid chance of evil dies tonight.
Oh my god! Wait, I forgot what wait. Hey, I'm sorry. Did I just say I killed someone and I teleported to this house and then I killed someone? What is happening to me?
I know
what is happening to me?
Okay, so
yeah. I don't know how I get hit by something and I can teleport.
I thought the editing for that was bad, but he doesn't recommend it, but I do. I relatively thought it was positive.
Here's what I'll say. You want a longer opinion of what I have to say? Tune into the podcast tonight. Not the podcast. I'm going to be streaming some Overwatch tonight.
Okay, well...
If he uploads this tonight. In other words, this is outdated.
Okay.
So now he has to upload it.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe down below. Please go check out Warhawk Person on YouTube.
But I will say, generally speaking, the Halloween movies, the new ones, were a fun experience. 2018 is a dub. Halloween Kills is a 50-50, and this one, in my opinion, is bad. He's going to say good. Maybe he's going to say Halloween Kills is the worst, but
Halloween Kills, but as I said, if I had to rank them, 2018, this one kills.
But I'm going to do something unique. I'm going to rank the timeline. And the timeline-wise, that means I have to compare the original, so it's, even though I don't really have to do much, it's between Halloween 2018 and 78, which one's the best one. So I'm going to say 2018's the modern version of 78.
What I liked about 2018 is that even though these sequels came out, that movie does feel satisfactory in its ending.
I know. The kills were brutal.
This movie had good kills,
I know.
Man.
Let's just say Chucky has a competition.
Anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe down below. Check out Warhawk Person. If you had any other thoughts, agree with either of us or disagree with one of us and agree with the other.
My final thoughts.
Make sure to leave those in the comments section. I always like to see those. And if you have any other requests for any reviews you want me to do, make sure you leave those down below.
And tune in when they make a remake of Friday the 13th.
Yep.
That's the next time you'll be seeing me, unless we're seeing John Wick. I don't think we are, but that's my final thoughts. And now I disappear back into the shadows. Goodbye.